Yes. I'm Will Fletcher. I'm the Interim Chief Executive of the Joe Cox Foundation.
Hi, I'm Sofia Collignon. I am an academic at Queen Mary University of London and the director of the Myland Institute.
Hello, I'm Helen Margits. I'm Professor of Society and the Internet at the University of Oxford and I'm Director for Public Policy at the Alan Turing Institute.
Excellent. Let me kick off with Lee Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks, witnesses, for coming. Really appreciate it, giving your time. There is an increasing perception in this country that politicians, MPs, are fair game. And just this week, in one of our rallies, conferences, if you want to call it, in Camborne, in Cornwall, we saw an angry mob turn up. And I think it was Antifa with masks on, intimidating people as they went into the rally. I think it was a 700 sellout, but 100 people actually turned back. They were too scared to go through the mob. And one of the security men for the honourable member for Clacton was struck and lost a couple of teeth. So it was quite a nasty thing. And there were no arrests made. And thanks, Sir Lindsay. I'm meeting your team about this as well next week. I've agreed to talk me through this as well. So thanks for that. But what I want to know is, there was no arrest made. The police didn't seem that interested. So I feel that sort of encourages future mobs to turn up at these events of all parties and have a pop at politicians. We've got a big conference next month in Birmingham. 10,000 people is coming to this conference. So we expect a lot of people to turn up to demonstrate against us, which is fine. We have no problem with shouting and jeering. But I do fear for the safety of not just my colleagues in Parliament, but the people turning up as well. There's prospective councillors, candidates, people who want to get involved in politics, and this is just going to put people off. So what can we do to work together from Parliament, from you guys and the police, to curb this nasty behaviour? Will?
I think we would say that there's a group of different factors that are at play here in causing things. We would definitely agree with some of what was said by the previous witnesses around the need for more political literacy, because we think it's really important that our population understands what it is that our politicians do and can learn how to engage with them in productive ways. There's also, ultimately, I think we've learned from the previous witnesses as well that there's no silver bullet. There's a range of factors behind this growing problem of abuse, and we are going to need properly coordinated action from a range of different institutions if we want to solve it. So that will include organisations like security and police, but also doing some of the hard work to change the culture in this country and the culture that we've seen right across the world, because this is not a problem that is restricted to us. And for us, that has to begin with educational work to raise political literacy and quite possibly some public campaigning work to raise awareness amongst the population of what is and isn't acceptable.
Well, I will say that one of the things that I think is relevant for this case is that in interviews with some police officers, one of the things that they mention is that sometimes they are called once the event happened. Now, I cannot comment specifically about that mob, but they were asking whether there is a way of encouraging people that know that they are going to organize a political event to engage on risk assessment beforehand, so they can actually know more, with a lot. The police is operating with constrained resources and very limited resources now. But if they have the time to prepare, it's much more likely that they can prepare in a positive and much more strategic way of tackle potential mobs. Now, this is, of course, in the case when we know that an event that can be potentially attractive for mobs is going to take place. It's difficult to foresee in every single situation. Now, the second part of the question about what is this perception, what is driving this perception that politicians might be fair game, I will say that there is a general, among the population, a general feeling of frustration about issues that are long-standing and perhaps haven't been solved as quickly as they want to be. When we ask candidates who is behind who is behind actions of harassment, abuse and intimidation, most of them answer in a very large proportion that is actually angry members of the public. So I think that we need to think very carefully about how we can address this underlying anger and improve the reputation of not only politicians, but what it is to be in public life.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Rupert.